Collaboration Podcast presents
Take Note Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have a lot of time? No problem.
Each week, we'll pick a topic and drop some knowledge in a short, concise mini-episode.
Take Note Tuesday is a production of the Coaches Collaboration Podcast, hosted by Cole Warren of Salutum Health and Performance, Josh Pierson of The Complete Athlete, produced by Brooke Stevens.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start up.
Let's go!
For me, it's when you can tell that the artist is above everybody. To me, that's what motivates me. Like,
see, I don't really listen to words.
God, I do. I do so much.
I don't listen to words at all. That's why I fuck with Suicide Boys heavy.
Yeah, because they got no words.
Well, I wouldn't know because I don't listen for them.
Fuck you.
But they got the sickest drops, and like, oh, it's just filthy, dude.
That's all you want is drops, huh?
Fucking filthy.
Just waiting for the drop. Just waiting for the drop.
Hey,
I'm a weightlifter. I can't wait for the
you're
drop.
Officially, no, you weren't a couple days ago
Fine.
a weightlifter, and now you officially are.
I was a weightlifter. Now I'm a competitive weightlifter.
No. You can't say you're a powerlifter or a weightlifter unless you have competed in said sports. You can say that you do weightlifting or you do powerlifting, but you're not a powerlifter or a
Fine,
weightlifter.
bitch. I am a weightlifter. And by
Officially.
the way, weightlifters can't wait for the drop because not most of the time, sometimes they have to follow themselves. They
Yeah,
don't have enough time to even get a song going because they got to
Expand.
fucking lift again.
Expand.
So
dude.
I was just yesterday at my first weightlifting meet. It's wonderful.
Pop that cherry, boy.
I popped that cherry, and I put purple in my hair because that gets me motivated.
God, dude.
It does.
Can we
bitch.
take a second?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What? Okay. First of all, it's supposed to be one stripe like a skunk, and Courtney fucked up hard.
Okay, can I just say this?
Yeah.
Anyone who changes their hair in any way for a competition, like I was never about that shit in high school. Never found myself, oh, we're going to state, we got to dye our hair blonde. No, fuck that shit. That's gay.
Well, fine. I'm gay. Okay. Fit right in.
Yeah.
Fit right in. Anyway.
I don't mean gay in it. You know how I mean.
Yeah, I
gay.
get it. Yeah, not in a derogatory fuck gay people. I get it. I got it. Good.
Okay. Got that cleared up.
Anyway, so when I was doing martial arts, it made me. It just. No, fuck off.
Why?
Don't you cut that
You
shit.
guys need to get better nomenclature. I'm done.
Anyway.
We're bros, dude.
Brooke, brah.
Sometimes I think I'm more of a bro than Josh.
Yeah,
Shut
Josh
the
is a
fuck
bitch.
up, bitch. All right, anyway.
I put purple in my hair.
Anyway, so I do that because it makes me feel comfortable, and the reason is because
Ben
when
will appreciate that.
when I go into a competition, whether it's martial arts or weightlifting, everybody looks at me like, what the fuck did you do with your hair? And for some reason that makes me feel comfortable, where
You have some mental issues.
I do. Anyway, for some reason, for some reason, it just makes me feel better because people are like, "Well, what the fuck is good?" And it just stay away from me. Is kind of what it is. Like, just leave me.
Why don't
alone.
you just like put in red contacts and like get tattoos all over your face too? That'd do the same thing.
Yeah, but those are permanent tattoos. This I just wash it out. Anyway, first competition, I walked in and all my dreams were crushed because I was thinking of it to be bigger than it was. And you said, well, duh, it's a
novice meet.
It's a novice meet, man. And I won. It was great.
So this is Take Note Tuesday. We have to actually give something the listeners can take note of, right?
I will. I absolutely will.
What did you expect? And then what was different about what you expected?
So I expected the platform to be raised where more than just 3 inches. So I wanted it like almost like a stage in a way.
Yeah, that doesn't happen unless you're at Worlds, Nationals.
I also expected the warm-up area to be in a different area than the competition area.
Right.
I also expected the head judges to be behind a table and for there to be more audible noises. So when I've seen the U.S. Open or the finals or whatever, Nationals, they always give an audible like tone.
When you lock it or whatever, then they go like beep.
Yeah,
and then
as
you
a
can
drop
it.
Yeah. So I had a verbal cue drop. That's fine. But what I was getting at more so is in between lifts, when you're in the warm-up room, you hear the beeps, and it keeps you on point. Like, okay, they just took the lift.
Right. So while you're back there, you kind of know what's going on a little bit more.
For me, I had to keep running to the screen that they had back there and look like, okay, they just took this lift. I still have 40 fucking lifts to wait before it's my turn. But again, with those audible noises, then I can kind of gauge like, oh, they followed themselves. They got the 30-second timer, minute timer, whatever. Yeah. So it would have just made it a little easier for me as the lifter. Mm-hmm. So again, I expected that. In the warm-up area, I expected better bars. So the bars that we had were a brand that I'm not going to shit all over on this podcast.
But they were just cheaper bars.
They were just cheaper bars with not the best quality anything. So when it was my turn to go, we secured a bar. So ahead of time, I had scoped out a bar. I was like, this is going to be the bar. Turned out it was a power bar, even though it had bearings and things like that.
The rings were different.
The rings were different. The knurling sucked. So we quickly exchanged that bar out. The bar we exchanged it for in haste, because again, I'm thinking, shit, I got to lift real soon. I need to get warming up. The bar that we switched it out to had no knurling. There was texture, but it wasn't anything. It was not even sandpaper. It was very smooth.
So it was basically just choose the best of these shitty bars.
Yes, exactly. And that was tough. And in the warm-up room, there was one set of kilo plates that was already staked out way before we got there. Yep. And then everything else was in pounds, which fine. I lift in pounds. That's fine for me. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
So again, I expected there to be just kilo plates.
So this is actually, that brings up a good point, because this past week for Ben Lawrence, who's doing this next week, for his openers, what I had him do, because I know there's going to be pound plates in the warm-up room,
right?
I had him warm up on pound plates, and then for his top sets, he moved over to kilos.
Yes, yeah.
So it kind of gives him also that same kind of feeling of what it's going to be like at the meet.
To make that switch as well.
Right.
Yeah. Now, the nice thing is you're going to be bringing your own bar. So there's going to be the Ohio bar back there, where again, I
wasn't planning on it.
Oh,
but I should.
I thought in the past you had said that. Anyway.
No. I just pick the best bar that's there.
Right. And that's what I tried to do. But the bars that we had in the back versus the bar that's on the platform is so different that if I hadn't been practicing on my Eleiko bar, I don't know if I would have been able to, but it's such a difference where these bars, because they're cheap, they're very stiff. They don't bend a lot. And the bar on the platform felt like a noodle when you contacted it appropriately. Right. So that was different. Other things I wasn't.
So we discussed this off air, but talk about the warm-up sequences and how difficult it was to kind of gauge when you were going to be on the platform.
Yeah. So my flight needed to start lifting at 2. The competition platform, the first lifter, 2:00. So I said to myself, okay, I at that point, we didn't know what other people's openers were. Not even most of the men weren't even in the back room for me to ask. I knew a couple of the openers, and when we were getting weighed in, I kind of could listen in, and I thought other people were going to be opening around the same numbers as me. So what I thought was, okay, there's 15 of us. I'm going to be 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there, where I need to be ready by like 2:15, 2:10 to be going. So I know that even if I go really, really slow, it takes me about 35 minutes to get to my opener. Okay,
so
cool.
you started warming up at like 1:45.
Yeah, 1:40, 1:45. Because again, I'm thinking, hey, I'll take extra breaks. I'll just relax. By about 2:15,
so
I'll be ready.
So keep note of that. He started at 1:45.
Yeah. So Yeah. Anyway, so 1:40, 1:45, I'm starting to warm up. By about 1:52, they wanted to introduce us. Okay, so by 1:52, I had like 165, 185 on the bar, something like that.
And what was your opener?
My opener was 220.
Okay,
so I'm getting ready because again, 2:15.
Yep. You got what, like 4 more jumps to make?
About maybe an extra rep in there if I have to, if I'm off a little bit.
Yep.
So they introduced us, and then finally, everybody's openers got released at 1:56. Let's just say, so 4 minutes until the platform has to go. And I look at the list, and when they lined us up in order of our openers. I was 15th.
Yeah.
And then I looked, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding? All these people are bigger than me. What's going on?
Dude,
and
you're just fucking strong.
Yeah,
dude.
I guess. So finally, I got back into the back room and saw the tablet, saw that I was 15th.
Yeah.
But what I also noticed was my opener is so far ahead of everybody's even third attempt. I have like an hour before I have to actually be ready to lift.
So you had this realization at
156.
Yeah.
So I'm
so
warm.
You have an hour to make 4 warm-ups.
Well,
basically, it's like I only have 4 warm-ups left, and I am not going to lift until another hour.
Exactly. So right after the intro, I quickly got into the back room because I was like, I need to take 185 if I'm going to go at 215. After that 85, I looked at the sheet, and I'm like, fuck.
And for people who don't know, like as a coach and a lifter, timing warm-ups is probably one of the biggest X factors in a meet because you want to give yourself time to recover, but you don't want to be rushed, but also you want to have similar time between your warm-up attempts that you're going to have during your 3 attempts on the platform.
Right.
So you're kind of trying to play this game of spacing everything out right. So when you go to the platform, you're not sitting longer than you were in warm-up. So it's kind of this game that you're playing the entire time.
Right, exactly.
So and
my game just got
up.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine we're playing chess and all of a sudden the board got flipped.
Yeah.
And
twice.
Exactly. Now I'm looking at it like I have to now figure out, okay, so I am warm.
Right.
If I cool down and just let it go,
so
there's no way I'm going to warm back up to the level that I am right now.
You're thinking about, okay,
I need to stay warm.
I fucked it up, obviously.
Yep.
Like, so what's the best route for me to do? I stay warm? Do I rest?
Right.
Do I re-warm up? What do I do here so I can get warm at the right time and stay warm?
Right. So I've practiced this where I do something called waves. I build up, drop down, build up, drop down. I've done it. Okay. I've done it in and around my openers as well, where I've even waved up to 95%, where I build up, drop down, build. So I've experienced this before. I'm a little out of touch with it because it's been months, but I've done it before. So I thought to myself, okay, so I did the math and I'm like, okay, I will be lifting right around 243. So let's just assume it's, 243 and I'll just kind of take it as I go. So I was at 185. I'm like, okay. Usually on my waves, I'll take it to about 200. So I took a 200, and then I'm like, okay, let's go back to 135. 135, but I took extra breaks in between because I was like, I need to elongate this as much as possible. So I took 35 a few times, 65 a few times, 85. Then I'm like, okay, it's about 236. So if I take 200, 210, I'm ready for 220. I looked at the fucking tablet. Yeah. Not even half the lifters have gone. So now I'm like freaking out because with weightlifting, if you follow somebody else, there's a 1-minute timer in between. As soon as the weight is lifted, that timer starts. Yeah. If you follow yourself, as soon as the weight is loaded, you have a 2-minute timer.
Right.
And some of these kids were following themselves, not following themselves.
So when
a
person follows themselves, it actually takes more time than if they don't.
Exactly.
So when you have a lot of people following themselves, it prolongs the time.
And a few hiccups happened.
Right.
A kid started bleeding on the bar, so they had to disinfect the bar every repetition, which took time. A kid fell, so there was sweat all over the platform. They had to deal with that. And so again, we're talking attempts that I had estimated about 1:15 for every, just as an average. It's more like 2 minutes. So now another coach saw what I was going through, and he's like, let me help you do the math.
Right.
Brought me over and we did the math. I still had another 20-something minutes before. So here I am. I'm like, fuck, I got to take 200 again.
So you could drop back down to 200.
No. So I was at 185, hit it, and then I was going to do this math.
This was the second time you were at 185.
Yep. And I'm like, okay, so I have to take 200 and then go back. So I took 200 and went back.
Why did you hit 200? Why didn't you just go back right away?
Because for my technique doesn't actually come into effect until 200 or above.
Okay, so you wanted to feel it?
I needed to make sure that the warm-up that I just spent wasn't wasted. Because if I were to take 185 and go back to 135, I wouldn't adjust my form to make it like 200. Now I'm snatching in a different way than I would snatch normally.
Right.
So I had to take 200. So then I'm like, okay, this is the technique I need. All right, let's go back to 135. So by the time I hit the platform, which was about 3 o'clock, and remember, I started at like 140. Right, 145. I had taken 185 pounds 11 times.
Jesus.
I took 200 3 times, and I took 210 twice. And the reason I took it twice was because I took it, then realized, oh shit, this guy that is in front of me, I'm sorry, 2 guys back. He was supposed to take 100 as his third attempt, that in my head. So I'm like, okay, there's going to be 2 lifters before I actually have to go yet. He decided to take 99. So it didn't give me the extra rest I was going to need. So I had to take 200 a second time so that I could prolong that. Because again, if he were to take 100, I'm immediately going to 100 because there'd be 3 people taking 100
Stop
at
pounding
that.
the
Sorry, there'd be
table,
3
dude.
people taking 100 at that point. Where this guy taking 99 made it so that I have even more time before I have to hit the platform.
Right. Yeah.
So I ended up taking 210 twice.
Man.
Then I went 3 for 3 on my snatches, which is great.
Yes.
Right.
And that's another reason why first meet, especially, there's all these factors that you don't know that are going to happen.
Right.
And then that's why you are a little conservative on your first lift, especially, and then your numbers overall are conservative, just because there's all of these things going on that could potentially affect and will affect your lifts.
Exactly. And with my opener, I've hit it 8 times in a day.
Yeah.
Without missing.
So there's no question.
There's no question.
Yeah.
No matter what was going through my mind, it was going to happen, no matter how shitty. So I did all of these lifts. My third attempt was 238, which is fine. It's 10 pounds off my PR, but you know what? It's my first comp. No big deal. Didn't miss a single snatch all day.
Yeah.
Then clean and jerks were next. So it's 3 o'clock, and I said to myself, I've got at least 45 minutes for sure.
Well, it took you an hour and
exactly
15
for
minutes.
snatches, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've got at least 45 minutes to just chill. And that's what I did, right?
Yep.
I ate a little bit of food, hung out. Then clean and jerks, as it was going, I realized I'm going to have to follow myself 3 times in a row, which means I'm going to have at most a minute 45.
So let me ask you this. So is it easier to follow yourself on snatches than it is clean and jerks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just because clean and jerk, it's a more demanding kind of movement.
Yeah. So when I'm working out, so training, I'm always following myself. And when I'm hitting big numbers, it's every 90 to 2 minutes, every 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And I can go to a PR on snatch just because it's not that fatiguing. It's just a speed thing.
Yeah.
Where clean and jerks, I like more of a 3-minute break.
Yep.
So I took my opener. The guy, and this is what actually screwed me up. So I hit my warm-up, my last warm-up. Then the guy that ended up taking his third attempt in between mine, I had plenty of time to my opener, took my opener. Now, you have a 1-minute timer. And what I always do is I always drain that timer to about 30 seconds before I even step foot on the platform.
Yep.
Gives me a little bit more rest.
Yep.
The bar doesn't come off the floor until like 8 seconds left on the timer. I've timed it out so many times that just my setup takes 22 seconds, whatever. This guy, so again, usually if everybody's doing that, this guy, as soon as I did my opener, the bar was loaded. Seconds later, he's lifting it.
Yeah.
So now between my first and my second attempt, I had 90 seconds.
Right. So
maybe,
like we mentioned before, it would have been better
to follow myself.
Yourself because he ate up that time so fast.
Right.
Whereas when you follow yourself, it's this set amount of time.
I can, the bar gets loaded. I can take my time. I have 2 minutes once the bar is loaded. It ends up being a little over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
About 2 minutes exactly when I actually lift the bar. Where this guy took 40 seconds of my break like that.
Yeah.
All right, so I took my second attempt. It was a little shaky.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. So I told Courtney, I'm like, let's
be a little more conservative.
Yeah, my
on the
original
third.
plan was let's do 140, let's do 138. I'll be all right. They loaded that bar so fucking fast, it was ridiculous. Like, one of the judges got up and helped load the bar. So because 2 people are pulling clips off, 2 people are loading.
This is the last lift of the day. People are tired. They want to go home.
All day long, though, it was just
this
2
fucking
people.
redhead off my platform.
Exactly. It was just 2 people loading it, and all of a sudden now 4 people are loading it. So instead of taking 30 seconds to load the bar, it took 8.
Right.
Now, and I'm not freaked out. I just wish I would have had a little bit more time.
Yeah.
So I took 303. Cleaned it, missed the jerk due to fatigue, for sure.
Right.
It had nothing to do with the technique was wrong or what.
Right.
I didn't have enough rest.
Yep.
Now, in hindsight, something that I've learned, we should have said 135. Then, as soon as they had the bar loaded,
then you could go up.
I have 30 seconds to decide.
Then you
I could have gone up to 38
or 40. Yeah.
Well, I could have gone 38. another 30
That gives
seconds,
you another 30
then go to
seconds.
40.
Right.
Because you can change your attempt 2 times.
See, that's why weightlifting, the attempt selection is so much more complicated than it is in powerlifting.
And nobody was trying to fuck me.
No. But it was just the
that's also a
circumstances
possibility.
and also the fact that you just weren't really aware. It was your
Right.
first meet. You're just like, you got all this other stuff going through your
Right.
mind. Now, obviously, now in hindsight, you can say, okay, well, if that situation ever arises again, this is something we can do. We could even, your second attempt's 130. Can't you make 1 kilo jumps?
Yes. Yeah. So I could have gone 131.
How many changes can you make? 2 of your last.
You can change it twice. So I can put in my number, change it, and change it again.
Right.
So again, in hindsight, I should have said 35.
Yep.
38. Let's do 40. By then, it's 3.5, 4 minutes rest.
Right.
I'll crush it. But again, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, fuck, let's get this next number in. Let's go. I know I only have 2 minutes. I
it's your
need to
first
go.
meet, man.
Exactly.
But those are all things. And I was going to tell you too, is like, write the shit down.
Yeah. I have it written. Yeah.
Because there's times when I make a mistake at one meet and then I forget about it, and then I make the same goddamn mistake the next meet. It's like, fuck, man, I already made this mistake. I should have learned from it. So
my biggest mistake, well, I couldn't have fixed this, is I was at a beginner's meet where all my competition wasn't around me.
Right.
So I don't mean to say under me, but I need to be at a competition where at least 2 other lifters are lifting similar.
Around where you're at, so you can have a little.
If I want the rest that I had estimated.
Yeah.
Because again, I was training with a guy who was supposed to compete with me, and his numbers were right around mine. So I was like, well, there's one, and he's not even great. So there's got to be one other.
Right.
But I was sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
I mean, my second attempt on snatch and my opener clean and jerk won me the competition. Yeah. So even missing my third attempt on clean and jerk, I still won by like 16 kilos over people that are not only older than me, some of them have been weightlifting longer than me. And
dude, you're a fucking prodigy, dude.
Shut up. And sadly, I'm not. I'm really not. There
but
are
I think
29 other people in the country that are better than me.
After talking to you about this, I feel like you have now, since you've gotten in the door of competing, now I feel like you're like, holy shit, let's fucking do this thing. You're already talking about American Open. You're already talking about things that you can do. So do you think that it has helped your just motivation towards training?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because now you know what you're prepping for.
Yeah. And I can also, in the prep, think to myself, I need to do like every 2 minutes on the minute type stuff in the volume phase. So I get comfortable with so many reps back to back. Right. But one last thing that I learned was I need to have a music playlist because I was relying on Pandora, which I always do, but Pandora shit on me and I didn't have set songs. So I only listened.
Oh yeah, you have an Android.
Yeah, so I only listened to a couple songs that I actually
get some Spotify, dude.
I do. I think I'm going to just switch to Spotify and start building that playlist so that in competition mode, I just know there's good songs. Yeah. Not that the songs threw me off.
Well, then you run out of skips,
exactly.
And then you're just like, fuck, I got to listen to this shitty ass song, and I'm about to go hit a PR.
See, I pay for Pandora, so I don't have to worry about running out of skips.
Okay.
But when I had that extra time, when I had that extra 45 minutes, it would have been nice to just have a set playlist, just go.
Yeah, just vibing.
Just vibe. Yeah, exactly. So I need to go to a competition where the competition's a little bit stiffer.
Yeah,
that's ultimately what I learned.
But I mean, this one was good. You got your feet wet. Now the circumstances were what they were.
Yep.
And you know kind of how shitty a meet could be. Yeah, potentially.
And when I have athletes that are going to do their first meet,
yeah, man,
I have
been there, done
so
that.
many things to already expectations. Yeah. But I met some great people. Actually, one last thing. Holy shit, was some of the form terrible. Terrible. And the vibe in the room, when the women were lifting, it was kind of fun, goofy. When the men were lifting, first of all, it was serious,
quick, dude.
But there was coaches trying to teach the athletes how to do something the day of the competition.
And we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That's not the time nor the place.
No, that's not
that person's thinking about what they're about to do
exactly.
on the platform. The last thing they need to worry about is, hey, make sure you pull a little bit longer on your fucking snatch.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. That's not. And again, so
it's wasted breath, honestly. And then also you're throwing something in their brain that they're going to be worrying about that.
They're going to be thinking about that on the platform. Yeah. And the best thing I can say, and this is what we'll close with, is when my foot touched the platform, there was no thoughts except legs. I had one cue in my head.
Yes. That's all you can afford.
Yeah. I stared down the center judge. all the people around me didn't phase me, didn't anything.
Tunnel vision.
People were saying my name, cheering for me, saying shit right off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Could I hear it? Sure, but it didn't register.
Yep.
It's
That's
the
fucking
best
tunnel
feeling
vision,
ever.
dude.
Yeah, it's the best feeling
That's that
ever.
competitive.
Yeah.
That's
Nothing was
a
going to
drug
phase
to me, dude.
Yeah.
I love that.
So even on my last clean and jerk, I cleaned it, saw stars. Fuck it. We're going.
We're going.
We're
dude.
going for it. I'm going to dig it out if I can.
What are you gonna do? Fucking drop it?
Exactly. Right then and there. Fuck off. I'm
Yeah.
going to at least go for
Don't be
the
a
jerk.
bitch.
Exactly. So again, competitions are exactly where I need to be.
And now I think you're addicted, dude.
For sure.
You're addicted.
I've always been. Yes.
but now you're officially a
now
weightlifter,
I gotta go
and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, now I got to go to Chicago and go to the U.S. Open and go to the national championships because I qualify.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking right.
Let's go.
Take No Tuesday.
Take No Tuesday.
Yeah.
Take No Tuesday will drop every Tuesday.
Obviously.
What do you mean you haven't subscribed yet? What the hell are you waiting for?
Take No Tuesday is a production of the Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
Next episode drops Thursday.